Good news, my boyfriend and I were finally going to go public with our relationship. Bad news, he suddenly has amnesia and everything has to start over from scratch. It took me 8 years to finally get to his side. Now I simply can't afford another 8 years, so I decided to break up with him. But when I went to see him one last time, he actually blushed the moment he looked at me. Did you get your memory back? I asked, bewildered. He shook his head and said bashfully, no, but the books say that a domineering CEO like me is bound to fall for a beautiful, considerate darling like you in the end, so I'm just rehearsing ahead of time. My face contorted as I looked at the man on the hospital bed, nearly 190 centimeters tall with a mature, sharp face. What domineering CEO? What beautiful darling? What kind of mess is this? I'm a man, I kindly reminded him. And I'm your secretary. That stuff in your books doesn't apply to us? He immediately frowned, looking just as fierce as he used to. But a second later, he pulled a gaudy, colorful book from under his pillow to argue his point. Why wouldn't it apply? We're exactly like the pair in this book. I took the book from him. On the cover, bold letters screamed, the domineering CEO and his pretty secretary. My eyelid twitched. This was a bad sign. I flipped through a few pages and a thick, old-school romance vibe hit me so hard I had to close it to catch my breath. He grabbed the little secretary's chin, his voice low and husky. You belong to me. He furrowed his sexy brows. Man, you're playing with fire. God, someone save my eyes. Jiang Ziqi, where did you get this trash? It's not trash. He snapped the book back, frowning deeper. I sighed. Fine, it's not trash. But that story isn't ours. Because I'm resigning and you're about to marry someone else. Marriage? Me? I felt a pang of bitterness. I reached out to tidy his hair and straighten his collar. Yeah, haven't you heard? Your parents are already looking for a bride for you. Too fearing their son might not recover, Jiang Ziqi's parents decided to plan ahead and find a good daughter-in-law to help with the family business. Now Jiang Ziqi's memory has been reset to factory settings. He's straight again and doesn't remember a single thing about us. If I rushed in now and said, I'm your boyfriend, don't marry another woman, I'd probably be kicked out as a lunatic. Not to mention what his parents would think. They'd likely be relieved their son forgot the bad gay guy who turned him. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. I snapped back to reality and looked at him. Jiang Ziqi looked stern, hands crossed, looking like he was presiding over a major board meeting. Logically, the vicious female second lead shouldn't appear this early. What is he even talking about? There's no vicious female lead. Your parents are finding you perfectly good girls. When you fall for someone later, watch your temper. Don't yell all day and don't be so clingy. Not everyone can handle your neediness. I felt like a widow leaving her child to a guardian, swallowing my internal struggle just hoping he'd be okay. Jiang Ziqi, don't blame me. How many 8 years does one have in a lifetime to walk back to your side? 3? Are you planning to run away with the ball right now? The emotional atmosphere I built shattered instantly. What? What? You know, like in The Wealthy Husband, Mrs. Jiang's triplets? Are we moving too fast? I haven't even done this and that with you yet, and you're already running away with the baby? TCH. Jiang Ziqi, are you sure you lost your memory and didn't just lose your mind? He glanced at me and lowered his head. Somehow, I saw a hint of grievance in his eyes. You have such a sharp tongue. I looked at the man pouting and fiddling with his fingers, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. He used to say that all the time, but he'd always lean in for a kiss afterward. Even if it's poisonous, I still love kissing it, was his usual way of surrendering whenever I was about to scold him. Yes, I'm sharp-tongued. So I'll stop bothering you and leave, okay? I hadn't even moved yet when he grabbed my sleeve. No, I like you even if you're sharp-tongued. The book says that's your personality, that's why I like you? Sometimes you just have to laugh when you're speechless. I snatched the book and smacked him on the head with it. Forget about liking or not liking. Taking this book away is what's important. He held onto my sleeve with one hand while desperately reaching for the book with the other. It was stubborn and clumsy, almost childish. Having always seen him serious, powerful, and mature, this version was actually quite refreshing. For brother, I'm here. Are you okay? Before the person even appeared, the voice arrived. Hearing that familiar voice, I instinctively muttered, not really. Jiang Ziqi looked up confused. What's wrong? The door was kicked open, and a guy dressed in luxury brands rushed in, pushing me aside to grab Jiang Ziqi's hand and start wailing. Brother, I just heard about the car accident. I was so worried, boo-hoo. This was Jiang Ziwan, Ziqi's cousin and someone who always made me uncomfortable. Ziqi froze for a few seconds before pulling his hand away. Who are you? Didn't my parents say I was an only child? He directed the second half of the question to me. I sighed and introduced them. This is your cousin. The boy wailed even harder. Brother, you really don't remember me? Ziqi glanced at him with clear rejection. I don't even remember my parents. What do you think? Ziwan wasn't discouraged. He kept pestering Ziqi until he eventually turned to me. Hey, secretary. I've been here so long. Don't you know to get me a glass of water? I raised an eyebrow, not intending to indulge him. Forget it. Get me a coffee instead. Go down and get me a Starbucks extra sugar. I rolled my eyes and was about to snap back when Ziqi spoke first. Excuse me, who do you think you're ordering around? Ziwan turned back with a fake smile. Oh, brother, I know he's your secretary, but we're family. Your secretary is my secretary. I'm just having him run an errand. Ziqi's face darkened. First, professionally speaking, he is a high-salaried executive assistant I hired, not your lackey. You have no right to give him orders. I nodded in agreement, thinking Ziqi still had his IQ even with amnesia. Second, personally speaking, he is your brother-in-law. As a junior, how can you ask an elder to run your errands? I take back what I just said. Brother-in-law? Who? Ziwan was completely lost. Mr. Jiang, your brother is confused right now and needs rest. Please come back another time, I said, quickly ushering him out. After forcing Ziwan out, I turned back to Ziqi. What are you talking about? Here it comes. Huh? What's coming? The stubborn wife refuses to admit the relationship, so the heartbroken CEO decides to punish him in bed until he confesses trope. He said those embarrassing words with a perfectly stoic, handsome face. I covered his mouth, veins popping on my forehead. Jiang Ziqi? He stopped and licked my palm. I pulled away in disgust and wiped my hand on his clothes. I really wanted to shake him and ask for my steady, reliable, quiet boyfriend back. Oh, Zhaoqi, you're here too. I turned around. It was Jiang Ziqi's parents. 5 on a bench outside the ward, Ziqi's parents called me out for a talk. Zhaoqi, thank you for your hard work. We're leaning on you for the company and Ziqi's care. We'd be lost without you. Jiang's mother held my hand, whispering her thanks. It's no problem, auntie. It's my duty. Whether as a secretary or a boyfriend, it was my duty. I just didn't know how much longer that duty would last. Xiaoqi, to be honest, Ziki's father and I have been discussing his marriage. We wanted to ask your opinion. I clenched my fists. Are you asking for recommendations? I'm afraid I might not. I cursed my own hesitation. I knew this day would come, so why was I so unwilling now? Jiang's mother shook her head. No, actually, I wanted to ask. Xiaoqi, could you marry Ziki? Marriage? I was startled, trying to stay calm as I looked at the anxious couple. Auntie, uncle. I'm a man. I squeezed the words out, my mind a mess. They looked at each other with disappointment, and Ziki's mother began to sob. I know it's a lot to ask, but his father found a fortune teller who said a joyous event, Chongxi, might help him recover faster. You know Ziki's temper. We can't just find anyone. You've been by his side the longest. Even if he gets his memory back, he won't blame you. As parents, we're out of options. Looking at Ziki's recent behavior, he'd likely agree, but I had to play the part. Auntie, don't cry. I can marry him. But I'm afraid he might not agree now. She wiped her tears, her voice firm. Don't worry about that. This marriage is happening, regardless of what he thinks. As they walked back into the room, I stood there wondering, what is actually going on? 6. I couldn't figure it out, so I decided to take it one step at a time. When I entered the room, the family seemed to have reached an agreement. They smiled and invited me over. If I didn't actually love Jiang Ziki, I'd think I was being scammed into a marriage. Ziki reached out his hand for me. While his parents weren't looking, I walked over and slapped his hand down. He let out a muffled groan and looked at me with a pouting expression. I bit my lip. It wasn't my fault. I was used to hiding our intimacy in front of others. Xiaoqi, Ziki's mother said, holding my hand. I've talked to Ziki. Once he's well enough to stand, you two will go register the marriage. If you want a wedding, we'll arrange it. If not, it's up to you. I hesitated. As for a wedding, of course we're having one. Ziki interrupted firmly. I want the whole world to know that Kibei is my wife. Without even turning around, I accurately reached out and pinched his mouth shut. Auntie, uncle, either way is fine with me. It mostly depends on the company's schedule. Okay, then we'll handle the arrangements. Mom and Dad? My face heated up as I awkwardly replied, okay. After they left, I saw Ziki still pouting, maintaining the pinched pose. I chuckled. What's with the face? Is your mouth made of clay? The sound he made startled me. I couldn't help but smile. I sat on the edge of the bed and poked his lip. What now? Why don't you want a wedding? He pouted even harder. I wanted to explain the logistics, public scrutiny, the company's image, the time constraints, but looking at his childish behavior, I didn't want to be serious anymore. I pretended to think. Maybe because our first wedding is destined to be ruined. Ziki sat up abruptly, his broad frame looming over me. Why would it be? After all these years, I still wasn't used to his sudden intensity. I instinctively leaned back. Because isn't a runaway groom plot a staple of domineering CEO novels? I tilted my head, watching this huge man turn shy and bashful like a young girl. He flopped back onto the bed and covered his face with the blanket. I laughed and tried to pull it off. Get up, don't suffocate yourself. He sprang up again and clung to me. I tickled his chin like a puppy. Are you that happy to play along with me? I want in. He turned his face away, burying it in the crook of my neck. After a long while, I finally said, yeah, I'm happy. 7. Back at the small apartment Ziki and I shared, I couldn't help but sigh. The Jiang family only suggested this marriage to help him recover. What happens after he gets better? Could I really spend the rest of my life with him in this ambiguous state? The next day after work, I went to the hospital with a lunchbox as usual. But this time he wasn't alone. Xiao Bei? Only one person called me. That's Ziki's older sister, Jiang Wenyu. Senior, you're back? I excitedly set down the lunchbox. Why else? Because of this brat, of course. Ziki's sister is a studious, private person, so we rarely talked. Seeing her again, I had so many questions. She patted my head affectionately. Everything went well abroad. Kibei, I'm hungry, Ziki suddenly interrupted. It was a bit strange, but I handed him the lunchbox. Then eat. Feed me. Before I could react, his sister snapped. Jiang Ziki, enough. You hit your head, not your hands. Stop bossing Xiao Bei around. Eat it yourself? I agreed, but I still set up his bed table and laid out the food. Then I turned to her. Senior, have you eaten? Let me treat you. She smiled. Sure. Let's go to that Malatang place near the university. I've missed it so much. Great. Before leaving, I reminded the motionless Ziki, finish the porridge. I spent a long time cooking it. 8. At 9 p.m., after dinner and dropping his sister off, I went back to the hospital. When I reached the room, Ziki was sitting there alone. The food containers were untouched except for the porridge. I was almost laughing from frustration. Jiang Ziki, why are you wasting food? He crossed his arms and leaned back like a lord. Shouldn't you ask what I'm angry about? I sighed. Who knows? You're angry every day. He grabbed my forearm and said something completely out of left field. Do you like my sister? I was horrified. What are you talking about? You know she already has a husband, right? He nodded to himself. So you have a secret crush on her then? I almost facepalmed. How could he be such a wild guesser? If I liked your sister, why would I agree to marry you? Ziki nodded but didn't seem convinced. I get it. You're using me as her stand-in, a perspective I never imagined. I instinctively went to deny it, but then I looked at him closely. He really did look like her around the eyes. They were both tall. He was like a gender-swapped version of her. I look like a male version of my sister, don't I? Caught off guard by him reading my mind, I nodded. Ziki's face turned cold, the look he usually reserved for strangers. I felt a bit frustrated myself. I wanted to ask him, we've always interacted this way with your sister, and you never acted like this before. But remembering his condition, I tried to explain calmly. You do look like her, but I only feel gratitude and respect for her. My feelings for you are different. Oh? And what feelings do you have for me? He looked at me, arms crossed. I was suddenly speechless, stammering for a long time before awkwardly changing the subject. Is this how your script is supposed to go? This is ridiculous. Ziki sighed, looking helpless. He pulled me into his arms and whispered in my ear. It definitely shouldn't go like this. I should just be doing this and that to you instead of listening to you ramble. My ears felt itchy from his breath and I laughed, trying to pull away. Bei, don't play the standing game with me. If you're going to love someone, you can only love me, Jiang Ziki. My ears felt hot. Got it. You're so Trinibu, middle schooler syndrome, right now. I'm going to record you and play it back once you get your memory back. He shrugged. Fine, fighting for love isn't embarrassing. Jiang Ziki, why do you always make me uncontrollably imagine a future for us? 9. Everything was proceeding in an orderly fashion, and the wedding plans were underway. Zicky's parents handled everything, but the one thing I needed to resolve hit a snag immediately. I didn't want to invite my family, but I didn't expect my mother to show up at my door anyway. She pulled a scruffy middle school boy and a frustrated-looking girl with her. As soon as she saw me, she snapped, "You're getting married? How much is the dowry?" "I'm a man," I replied calmly. "There's no dowry." She grabbed my arm with such force it stung. "Stop faking. I know you're the woman in the relationship. How could there be no dowry?" I controlled my expression and pried her hand off. I said no. The alimony I send every month is enough. Don't push your luck. Don't push my luck. Her voice turned shrill. "I'm your mother. I carried you for 10 months. I clenched my palms, trying to stay composed. "Yes, you gave birth to me. Otherwise, a woman who tried to push a high schooler into an old man's bed would be in prison. Not standing here making greedy demands." My voice finally rose. How could a woman who once tried to sell her gay son to her husband's clients have the nerve to yell, "I'm your mother"? She faltered but then pushed the girl toward me. "Look, your sister is grown now. Your partner must know plenty of rich CEOs. Introduce her." I sighed in annoyance, but she didn't stop. "If that doesn't work, she could be a surrogate for your partner. A wealthy family like that must want a biological heir." The middle school boy scoffed, looking at his sister with mockery. The girl's face turned pale. She looked down silent. "Surrogacy is illegal," I said, voice cold. "Do you really want to end up in a cell?" "What surrogacy?" A familiar voice cut through the tension. It was Jiang Zicky. "You must be Mr. Jiang," my mother said instantly, faking a smile. "I'm Qi Bei's mother. My son is quite a handful. Sorry for the trouble." Zicky chuckled softly, ignoring her hand. "No trouble at all. Bei is so wonderful, I can't thank him enough." My mother's smile froze. She tried to push the girl forward again, but Zicky raised a hand to stop her. "I know what you're going to say," Zicky said sternly. "First, I don't associate with animals who prey on minors. Second, I don't need a surrogate. We can adopt or donate to charity. A biological heir isn't a necessity. Third, if you harass my lover again, he might be soft-hearted and moral, but I am not." Suddenly, several security guards appeared behind him. It was a bit over the top, but effective. My mother finally dragged the kids away, grumbling. I chased after them for a second to slip a note to my sister. I knew she needed a way out. When I returned, Zicky was waiting. "What's wrong?" he asked. "Nothing," I sighed. "Sorry you had to see that." "See what?" "I already knew all this," Zicky said, pulling out another gaudy book. "It's all in the books. Every resilient little white flower protagonist has a shattered family background." I shouldn't have doubted him. If a non-amnesiac Jiang Zicky said that with a straight face, I'd have wasted 8 years loving him. 10 fine, I guess the book has some value, I laughed. "So, President Jiang, would you like to have lunch with this white flower?" Zicky smirked. "Inviting me to lunch? Man, you should know that a mere meal won't satisfy me." I covered his mouth, blushing. "Keep it down. If one meal isn't enough, have two." After lunch, I tried to refamiliarize him with the business. Surprisingly, even with amnesia, he picked things up instantly. Genius, maybe? That afternoon, a major client arrived. Ji Haeyong. "Zhao Qi," Ji called out the moment he saw me. I kept my professional smile, but guided Zicky's hand to shake his. "Mr. Ji, what a coincidence. President Jiang is back on his first day." Ji glanced at Zicky dismissively and looked back at me. "Oh, he's back. But Zhao Qi, I prefer if you continue to lead this project. Personally and professionally, you're the right fit. I'm sure the president won't mind." Zicky scoffed loudly. Everyone stared. He pulled me behind him, wearing a fake, plastic smile. "Why would I mind? Qi Bei and I are getting married soon. The company is our joint venture. He's working for our family. Of course I support him." I closed my eyes. All those years of keeping our relationship a secret at work? Wasted. The office exploded into gossip. Ji Haeyong frowned. "Married? Since when?" "Zhao Qi, what is this?" Let's talk business first." "Darling," Zicky interrupted with an innocent face. "Can't we just tell him we're in love?" Ji Haeyong stepped forward, agitated. "In love? On what grounds?" "I've been pursuing Zhao Qi for 3 years. If anyone's in love, it should be me first." "3 years?" Zicky barked back. "I've worked with him for 5. Even my office computer has spent more time with him than you have." "Keep dreaming." 2 CEOs were now bickering like children. "Private matters are banned in the office." I snapped, separating them. "Eating the grass by your own nest?" "Shameless," Kim muttered, crying over a married man. "Pathetic," Zicky shot back. 11 in the office, Zicky was still fuming. "How could you speak to a client like that?" I scolded. "This project is vital." "He was hitting on you." Zicky stood up. "Losing a project won't kill this company. But losing you? That's not an option. The old you wasn't like this," I sighed. "You've lost your sense of priority. The old me can do whatever. Right now, you're mine." I looked at his stubborn face. "Jiang Zicky, can you really love me this much just from a few novels? Do you really see me as your property?" He went quiet. "It's not just the novels. I saw someone crying silently outside my ward every day. I saw someone hiding exhaustion under a smile, bringing me home-cooked meals every single day regardless of the weather. Qi Bei, I lost my memory, but I can see love in someone's eyes. You love me, so why won't you admit it? It feels like I'm the only one trying." I was overwhelmed. My fear of being abandoned learned from my mother's failed marriages always made me want to hide. "Let's just both calm down," I whispered. "Coward," Zicky said. "Excuse me? I'm talking about you? I don't care how the old me endured it, but now? You want to retreat? To leave me? Not a chance." He hugged me so tight it felt like he wanted to merge our bones. "Qi Bei, don't leave me, okay?" I slowly hugged him back. I wasn't the one who could leave. I was the one who was always terrified of being left behind. 12 after work, Zicky hopped into my passenger seat. "I'm going home with you." "A home visit for my subordinate." "No, go back to your own place." "No," he pouted. "Those houses are empty. They don't feel like home." My heart softened. When we got to my apartment, I instinctively helped him with his coat. "Wait," Zicky pointed to a photo on the TV stand. "Why do you have a photo of us together? Do you have a crush on me?" "If you want to think that, sure." He started exploring. "Why do you have 2 pairs of slippers? The big ones fit me perfectly. Why 2 toothbrushes? They're a matching set. Why are there clothes in my size in your closet? Hey, this fits me." I leaned against the doorframe. "Stop digging. They were all prepared for you." He leaned in close. "So you really love me that much?" Yeah. 14 after dinner, the truth came out. "So," Zicky said, looking like an interrogator, "we were dating, and you hid it because you were afraid I'd turn straight after the amnesia?" "Well, my concerns weren't groundless." "Qi Bei, you're unbelievable. Did you plan to just erase our past and run away? Let me marry someone I don't love and live in regret once I remember. Was I not loving enough before?" "It's not that. I think the problem is you. You insisted on a secret relationship. You suffered alone, ready to bail at any moment. And I probably just went along with it because I was afraid of losing you. We weren't living happily. We were drifting apart. He was right. He knelt before me. Sometimes I wish we were as simple as the novels. You hide, I lock you up. Even if it's messy, we'd be together forever. But as much as I want to possess you, I want you to be happy more. Even if I'm amnesiac, I can't help but love you with everything I have. I took his hand. I'm the coward. I wanted to be with you, but every voice in my head told me it was impossible. I started to sob. Ziki covered my ears. Don't listen to them. Listen to me. I love you. Even if I lose my memory 10,000 times, I will fall for you every single time. 15. We postponed the wedding. I wanted him to remember everything first. A month later, Ziki announced he had regained his memory. He could remember everything, even what I wore on our first meeting. With sweaty palms, I pulled out a ring. I was going to say this when you remembered. Zhang Ziki, will you be with me? For a lifetime? Ziki froze, then mock gasped. But I saw the tears in his eyes. Is it for me? I nodded and slipped it on his finger. What made you so romantic today? He teased. Because, I smiled, I really love you. The mature Ziki taught me how to grow thorns to protect myself. But the childish Ziki taught me that the world isn't just about protection. It's about the moments you express your love.